It's nice to be with you all this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, we'll be talking about harnessing digital innovation and how to reinvent customer experience for business advantage. I would like to spend a little bit of time this morning agitating thinking a little bit, just to, challenge, I suppose, conventional ways that we view business, conventional ways that we view innovation, and in my view, some conventional ways in which we view customer experience. And so I hope you'll enjoy the thoughts that we have to share. Before we get going, I really would like just to take a minute to reflect on where we are. And it really is a difficult time for many. And there have been tons of, economic, business, interpersonal, psychological challenges that I am aware of that many have faced and many are facing. So I just thought I would take a minute to say human to human that, we see you, we recognize you, and we wish you a lot of strength and a lot of encouragement as you navigate this time. And may you have a lot of joy and a lot of success in practicing inevitably what is going to be a lot of resilience for many of us. Good. So thank you for the introduction, Jerry. As he mentioned, I do work at the CX Group. We are all about creating the greatest CX stories. So as Jerry said in the introduction, we want to make SA as customer-centric as it can be. And we see our role in helping organizations create the greatest customer experience and tell their greatest CX stories. Then I do a little bit of volunteer work on the side. I'm a co-founder and currently board chairperson of Customer Experience South Africa. We are an industry mandated body that has the responsibility to professionalize our industry. And so through a series of activities and volunteer participation from people in the network, we are trying to organize and professionalize customer experience. And we are trying to set standards for what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and as well as to give I suppose South Africans protection, peace of mind. So when we buy products and services from organizations, hopefully we can patronize organizations that are responsible, organizations that are taking care of our needs and that care for the kind of experience that we offer. And then there is an international body for customer experience that we are affiliated to. From time to time, we have free CXPA breakfasts. So if anyone is keen to connect and if anyone is keen to meet other CXs, as we informally call each other, then, please let us know, reach out to us. Our contact details will be shared at the end. And then you can join us for the CXPA breakfast. Daryl, who spoke yesterday, is a frequent attendee and a good friend of ours, and many others. So we hope to see you at the CXPA breakfast. A little bit more about who I am. So many years ago, way too many than is important to share, I got started out in computer systems engineering. So I really started out my education studying computers and studying engineering and programming and that sort of thing. I then decided I want to be a CEO one day. I want to be a business manager. And so I went off to university and I did a BTech, a bachelor's degree in business administration. I followed that up with a master's degree in business management. I did have honors status in strategic management as a bridging between the BTech and the MPhil. So I covered business management, I covered strategy, and then I did a philosophy-based, a research-based dissertation in customer experience within the telco industry. So I consider myself to be quite an expert in, sort of the scientific elements of customer experience. I took an exploratory approach here. which is quite interesting. So what we decided to do is qualitative interviews. In other words, we didn't speak to a whole lot of people. We spoke to a small number of people. We got really deep about how they perceive customer experience, how they perceive the value chain within an organization, and the role, the purpose of the value chain and the contribution of the value chain activities, not only to margin, but certainly to the customer experience. And what came out of that is that businesses need to start to do a bit of a better job in managing customer value, right? So how do we plan? How do we lead? How do we organize? How do we control all the activities within a business across the value chain in order to maximize delivery to customers? Because if we maximize value, it's a very important critical success factor to give us customer loyalty. So we'll break it down a little bit later in the presentation, but customer value is certainly a very important part of customer experience and a part of innovation too. Then lately, we are working on quite a number of industry designations. Through the last couple of weeks, we spent some time acquiring, the accredited customer experience master, the accredited customer experience champion, and the accredited customer experience mentor designations. This is all from the BP group. If you're interested, reach out, we will share more with you. But I'm also on a mission to ensure that I do the CXS from the CX University. Fabulous resource for anyone who wants to educate themselves in customer experience. Founded by Mohammed Latib, who is a South African, but based in America. So I'm going through that curriculum. I'll shortly be adding that designation, as well as the CCXP, so the International Body for Customer Experience. They have a designation after you write a board exam. It's called the CCXP, which really means a lot for your international credibility in customer experience. So that's ultimately the aim. And I guess in addition to becoming the most qualified version of the self, it's also to get a first-hand view on what is available in customer experience education, customer experience designations, so that those propositions, those courses can be incorporated into the general standards around what we do for customer experience in South Africa, right? So that's the interest there. And with a few others, we're aiming to be some of the most qualified customer experience practitioners that exist anywhere on the globe. That's a little bit about me. So ladies and gents, I really would like to ask you to participate with me on something. I have put together a small survey. It's we just want to see from you what your thoughts are on innovation. So what you can do here is take your mobile phone and scan the barcode, and that will offer you the a Microsoft Forms poll. So as I said, it's just 2 questions. One is your name, which is totally optional. You don't have to fill in your name, but it would be nice if you did. And which company you believe is the most innovative across the world, the most innovative company that you know of. So I'm going to give it a minute or two. Let's give it 2 minutes. Just give you a chance to scan the barcode with your mobile phone, open up the form, and fill in those 2 questions. Tell us which company you think is the most innovative company in the world. I'll give it a minute. Okay, about 30 seconds to go. Thank you to those who have answered already. The way we get there is just to click on the barcode very quickly. and open up your web browser and answer, if you wish, your name as well as which company you think is the most innovative. I already see responses from Johan. Thank you, Quentin, Philip, Mule. Thank you very much for your responses. Keen to see what I'm seeing here is a lot of American companies. So I was quite keen to see if anything would come up that is actually South African. So let's give it another 10 seconds before we look at the results. There are 8 responses that have come in. Thank you very much. So let's see what people have said. So unfortunately, my results are only going to show the top 3 results. So what you can see on the screen, out of 9 responses, Microsoft, Amazon, and Amazon. If I look in the background, I see Apple's come up. I see SpaceX has come up. I see Tesla has come up. Those are very notable because, as some of you may know, SpaceX and Tesla are founded by Elon Musk, a South African who recently became the richest man on earth. So we'll speak a little bit more about Tesla. They are a case that we're going to look at later on in the presentation. And then we see Google and Amazon. We see Apple again. We see Google again. We see I'm not sure who this is, Danielle, if that's a company feedback from or response from Philip. Thanks for that, Philip. I'm not sure who Danielle is, but very interesting. We can look into that. So Amazon, Microsoft, all of them seem to be American companies. So that is interesting. I mean, what does that say about the state of innovation, the level of innovation within South Africa? Right. A quote that I wanted to show you from Steve Jobs. He is definitely one of my global heroes. And I just really love his mind around how he viewed the world, how he had such a keen sense of detail, such a keen sense of design, and was able to be brave and innovate products, services that people didn't really know they wanted. And Steve's, one of his quotes, on innovation, he says, it comes from people meeting up in the hallways or calling each other at night with a new idea, or because they realize that something shoots holes in how we've been thinking about a problem. I think this is very, very insightful. It's quite telling that I see very often in business, in the consulting work that we do, a sense of resistance to move away from things that work, to move away from the norm, to move away from what we know. And so this is quite telling for me, quite interesting, that we really are moving away from the age of, and as it relates to innovation, I call it the age of doing innovation based on what you're resourced in. And we're moving into an age where the customer has power and where things move so quickly that if you're not moving, and you're not reframing your thinking to be relevant within where we are, third decade of 21st century, that you're rapidly falling behind. And so a lot of what I'm going to share with you here today is about how we start to reframe our thinking around innovation. So this is an old video that is really one of my favorite case studies of innovation. So it takes about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Give it a watch. It's about how Tesco, a supermarket retail chain, did something very clever, very innovative within the South Korean market. And then we'll discuss it and draw some lessons out of it that we can apply to how we could think of innovation in future and how that innovation could apply to delivering better customer experiences for our customers.
Is a unique market. Tesco has been evolving itself, adjusting to the local market. It even changed the name itself from Tesco to Home Plus. And at last, it grew to rank number 2 in Korea. But Tesco had to overcome one obstacle, a fewer number of stores compared to the number one company, Emart. Mission: could we become number one without increasing the number of stores? We made an in-depth study into Koreans once more. Koreans are the second most hardworking people in the world. For them, grocery shopping once a week is a dreaded task. So we decided to approach these busy and tired people. Idea: let the store come to the people. We created virtual stores, hoping to blend into people's everyday lives. Our first try was subway stations. Although virtual, the displays were exactly the same as actual stores, from the display to the merchandise. Only one thing was different. You use smartphones to shop. Scan the QR code with your phone, and the product automatically lands in your online cart. When the online purchase is done, it will be delivered to your door right after you get home. People can relax more after work and on weekends.
실제로 보면서 사니까 진짜 더 좋은 것 같아요. 편하기도 하고.
Result: people can shop at Tesco Home Plus wherever they go without having to visit the actual store. Moreover, we could change their waiting time to shopping time. After this campaign, online sales increased tremendously. Through this campaign, 10,287 consumers visited the online Home Plus mall using smartphones. The number of new registered members rose by 76%, and online sales increased 130%. Currently, Home Plus has become number one in the online market and is a very close second offline.
Great. So what lessons can we take from there? A couple of things. Firstly, as a point of departure, what Tesco or Home Plus did is they started with understanding the customer. I mean, one of the first lines in the video is that they did an in-depth study of the customers to understand how they live their lives. So in order to get innovation right and in order to derive business value, it's imperative, it's critical to start there. And when we speak about strategic gifting, I'll explain a little bit more about why. Secondly, it makes something that the customer already does easier and more pleasant. So it doesn't require any new routines or any new habits or any departures from what I already do. The customers already take the subway home. The customers already do their shopping. It's already a couple of minutes wait from arriving at the station for the train to arrive. So that dead wait time is actually effectively used and maximized. And as a result of listening to the customers and coming up with something really, really super innovative and super smart, they were able to achieve what is, in my view, and I'm sure you will agree, really superior and really sustainable business results. So to get innovation right, the message is understand your customer, make it easy for whatever you do to be incorporated into their life and give them meaning and make it easier. And don't really massively require them to create new habits or new routines unless you are taking a massive strategic risk. And there are, of course, situations where that should be done. So the question is, if that's the kind of innovation that can happen in South Korea, can this be done in South Africa? Well, there's a report. It's called the 2019 South African Digital Customer Experience Report. Fascinating read if you haven't seen it. Some of the famous CXs in South Africa have contributed to that. So our friend Nancy from Nissan has contributed to that, as well as Julia Alfeld from Cape Town. She's also a consultant in the CX community. She's contributed to that. But really what this report says is that within the South African market, there's a 34 billion Rand opportunity cost of CX online. In other words, an opportunity cost is a cost that you compare doing one thing versus doing another thing, right? And what is the difference in cost and what is the difference in benefit. And what they're saying is there is 34 billion rand sitting on the table waiting to be grabbed by leveraging digital technology in order to deliver better products and services to customers digitally. And as people earn more, that opportunity and the amount of money that can be made increases, right? So if you earn less than 10,000 Rand a month, there's a certain amount of free cash that you can spend as a customer to acquire products and services online. And if you earn more than that, it increases. So really the opportunity is there. It's really about how we view, how we run our businesses and how we view, how we deal with our customers and deliver value to them. That's going to help us take a piece of that opportunity, right? So there's something that we recently did, that I recently did with clients. And I'm going to step through this just to get us used to the idea of thinking about our businesses from the outside in as opposed to from the inside out. So outside in thinking means you look at the world the way your customer would look at the world, and you respond to his needs. So 4 questions that we are going to ask on the internal view, we call that the process view, which is typically what a business thinks about itself. And then on the CX view, what we call the outside in view or the customer view, we're going to answer 4 questions that are framed. It's exactly the same question, but it's framed from the perspective of the customer. And that is the outside in customer view. So firstly, when we think about insurance, excuse me, ladies and gents, I didn't see the warning on the second screen. I hope you could all hear the sound. It appears that perhaps the sound did not come through. But anyway, back to the presentation. We ask 4 questions from the process view and 4 questions from the customer view. What industry are you in? Now, remember, this is the insurance industry. So what people typically would say is, we sell insurance. Now, that's the way you view your business. That's the way you view your industry. For the last 50, 100 years, we have an example of an insurance company in South Africa that's 175 years old, right? For all of that time, they've been successful selling insurance. But we have done a piece of work to interview their customers and understand from their customers, what do you buy from X insurance company? And this is what customers say. They buy peace of mind, they buy security, and they buy the ability to recover quickly. Now, if you have any kind of business strategy mind, strategy is about decision-making. It's about identifying opportunities where future money is, and then being brave in your business to go after those opportunities. So if it means that we sell every single product, service, resource, capability that we have in our business, because the future opportunity to make money where the market is going is somewhere else, we should do that. So if you think about what peace of mind is, there's all sorts of new business opportunities and revenue making opportunities that come out outside of, but complementary to insurance. What is it that we can do that our customers want, that our customers need, that our customers value, that's going to give them better peace of mind, that is going to give them better security and the increased ability to recover quickly? So as a wacky example, maybe the insurance company should start a panel beating unit, because they can get a better quality of repair, a better customer experience, and possibly, deliver on the customer need to recover quickly. So that's what strategy is really about. The next question that we ask, from the internal perspective, where does the process start and where does the process finish, right? So in a typical insurance company, it starts with the quote request to the cancellation date. That is where the process and the experience, if you look at it from a process view, starts and ends with your customer. But when we ask customers, or when we think from the customer's perspective, where does the entire experience with the insurance company or the provider of peace of mind, security, and ability to recover quickly, where does that begin and end? It begins with the realization of a need for security and peace of mind. Now, note with this kind of realization, there's absolutely no mention of the brand or the company or the potential solution provider. It's actually far earlier in the process than I call in to add a quote. And between realizing I have a need and obtaining a quote, there's a whole lot of things that happen before I contact an organization or an insurance company to help me, I speak to my friends, I look at reviews, those sort of things. Very important that we start to understand that our experience is much broader than just the interaction in the first time a client or a potential client hits our website or contacts us on the phone. Where does the experience end? Well, it ends when the customer's lifestyle changes, and that need for security, peace of mind, and the ability to recover is not required anymore, or it's certainly not required in the exact same way, in the exact same format as before. So a lot of things happen before the interaction with the company, a lot of things happen after the interaction with the company. A lot of it is not even controllable by the organization. You can't influence it, but it's part of the customer experience and has a reflection on your brand. The third question that we answer, what are the main touch points within the process? So if you look at it from the internal view, inside out, selecting a policy is a process, accepting a quote is a process, signing up is a process, and claiming is a process, and so on, right? That's how the insurance company that views the experience and the process from quote request to cancellation date would typically view touch points within the business, and that's worked well, as I said, for 175 years. But when you speak to customers and when you review the moments of truth and the important interactions on touch points that have the ability to create a permanent impression in the mind of customers, it looks very, very different. I'm not going to read all of this, but certainly the idea around peace of mind and all the experience-related elements and interactions around peace of mind come to play here. Then from the inside-out perspective, especially an organization that we are currently consulting to, they have decided that they want to be they want to embark on an operational excellence business strategy, which means for them low costs, very standardized products, and high revenue as a result of having a cost-efficient way of delivering to clients. But what does success look like to the customer? Very, very different picture. So to the customer, it's about affordability. It's about security that covers me for unforeseen circumstances that I might encounter. It is, supposed to deliver for me, pay my claim, because I'm going to claim, but it's got to have a limited impact to my lifestyle. So the number of times, for example, during the qualitative interview process, that people said to us, I needed to claim, it's the middle of the month, and now I need to pay excess of, 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand, 3,000 Rand. It's the middle of the month. I don't have that money. That's why I have insurance. That's why I have the cover, right? So the picture of success, the purpose for acquiring products and services and solutions that address customers' needs is a very, very, very different view of what the organizations traditionally view themselves as being in the business of. So the degree to which you have the ability to listen and understand the customer needs is going to be a key determining factor in future on the success of your business. Right. So we need to move from inside out to outside in. Does that mean that we should all just become very innovative organizations overnight? So perhaps not. There is some danger, there is some innovation risk that exists. And we'll talk about some reasons for that innovation risk after we've looked at a couple of case studies. So about 10, 15 years ago, around about 2013, sorry, it's not 10, 15 years ago, it's about 8 years ago, around about 2013, to much fanfare, Google launched what they call Project Loon. So in order for products and services that Google delivers in the market, in order for those products to actually be delivered to customers, well, maybe it's a little bit important that we actually give people internet access. So this project was really aimed at the developing markets, emerging markets, so that we can bring internet to people so that they can start to Google things, right? I think it's a very noble intent. I think it's a very important mission. And this project was launched in 2013. However, a couple of weeks ago, news broke, and you can see on the right-hand side, the article from the New York Times, Google Loon will close. And incredibly, the reason why Google Loon is closing, why they're shutting down the product, or shutting down the business, is because they cannot make enough money from it. Okay, so I think that is very, very, very important to understand that the reason for innovation, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, the reason, the purpose for innovation, you've got to decide up front, are you going to be strategic or are you going to make money? And I think both of those are very, very relevant, but you cannot be both. You've got to use the one or the other as a purpose for why you do your innovation. So you may not agree with me, you may not understand it. Why? Let's look at Tesla. So Tesla, very, very innovative, very, very successful, and in their, they lead the EV market. I guess they are so far ahead in their technology and the products that they have around renewable and rechargeable energy. So their share price, if you discount the events of the last week, the share price has really, really grown over the last couple of months, right? But Elon Musk, he says that he doesn't really care if Tesla goes bankrupt. A quote from him, if somebody comes and makes a better electric car than Tesla, and it's so much better than ours that we can't sell our cars and we go bankrupt, I still think it's a good thing for the world. So Elon Musk has a far bigger dream, a far bigger goal than selling electric cars. His goal, for anyone who doesn't know it, is to make humanity a multi-planetary species. So the purpose of Tesla, the purpose of SpaceX, the purpose of many of the companies that he has started are with the idea, with the goal to ensure that we can one day live on Mars. So Tesla is building, SpaceX is building all sorts of capabilities and technologies that are going to help us to be multiplanetary. You and I think when we buy a Tesla, and hopefully we will soon, we think that we are buying an electric vehicle. That's not what we're doing. We're helping Tesla to build the technologies to become multiplanetary. And so if Tesla fails, the work that they have done and the technologies that they have developed are very important in order to get us to Mars, right? So he doesn't care if Tesla fails, and that introduces another way to consider innovation. That we do innovation not necessarily for the product to succeed, but we do innovation to get feedback, to get better, and we should not be afraid to take that feedback, to innovate, to iteratively collaborate and improve our solution so it gets better at meeting customer needs. But more importantly, we should also not be afraid for our innovations to fail. Right, so I thought I'll talk about a South African case study. This is my own experience. As you know, I am a customer experience consultant, so I often test the experience of companies. So we benchmark that experience for the competitors. What you see on the left-hand side is a very, very quick persona. So I did a persona of myself, that's who I am, that's my, education, that is the industry I work in, and so on. And I have certain expectations, I have certain needs, I have certain requirements as a result of who I am and how I think and how I view the world. So the picture on the right, which is a nameless insurance company, is a real life experience, and I'm going to walk you through my customer experience journey. So I first saw a YouTube video about this company, and it got me thinking, maybe it's interesting to tap into their rewards and discounting ecosystem that's powered by artificial intelligence, and spoke to some friends who I know have done or are clients of this organization. And we got some recommendations from them. So it heightens my level of expectation, to be honest. I expect this is going to be really cool. I'm going to get value from dealing with this company. I then jump into doing my own research because according to my persona, that's the kind of individual that I am, right? I don't believe what someone tells me in an advert. I don't believe what they tell me on the phone. To a degree, I don't even believe on what they tell me on the website, the organization itself. I am the kind of person who needs to do my own research. So I visit the website. It's a bit of a tedious process, still a pretty cool thing to do. It's still matching with the high expectation that I have around this is going to be quite cool to do. I then decide, right, I'm going to buy a policy from this company. So immediately I'm disappointed. I'm not allowed to, or I'm not able to get a quote online on the website. So I'm sitting here, I'm in front of my computer. I'm on your website, I'm trying to create an account and get a quote, and I'm unable to do it. I must change my habit and go to my phone and download an app and then do it from the app only, right? So for me, that's a crazy customer experience. It immediately makes me think, not so happy. Then they ask me a bunch of questions. They do get a bit personal. I don't think that's unexpected, but it is not great to have to answer how many aunts and uncles you have and enter in your ID number and that sort of thing. But we do it. And of course, according to my persona and my life stage and my LSM, I have more than one car, right? So when I get to, typing in all the details, entering all the details for my one vehicle, it wants me to pay immediately. So it doesn't cater for the reality of my needs. I have two cars and I have a house, and I wanted a quote for all of those things without paying and repeating the process. So what did it mean? I deleted the app. I broke out of the experience. And so as you can see, I started with a very high expectation based on what I heard, what I saw about this organization, what they do, how it works, the fact that you can do everything at the touch of your fingers. But they absolutely didn't meet my needs on how I wish to interact with the organization. So innovation has inherent risk. And the risk is we are very romantic about our ideas. We are very in love with the products and services that we want to put out into the market, and we don't think very well about our customers. So that is what I call strategic gifting. And I want to say in the third decade of the 21st century, we're now in the era, in the age of really needing to be careful of strategic gifting. Here's what it means. It means that I think about what I'm good at. And I think about what's available to me, people, processes, resource, inputs, whatever it is. And I decide that I'm going to develop a business or a product or an innovation around that, and I'm going to throw it over the wall at the marketplace, and I'm going to hope and expect that that sticks. So let's talk you through the example. Let's assume you decide to move to the Kalahari Desert or the Sahara Desert. And all around you, you see miles and miles and heaps and dunes of sand. And you decide, wow, this is actually a great resource for me. What I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a business and a production line, and I am going to make effective use of this abundant resource. So what you do is you set up a business and you start making bricks. Right? So resources there, you register your business formally, you create your production line, you even employ people, you create employment, right? Wonderful idea, except that your addressable market is the occasional camel that walks by. Once in a while, a camel walks by, and there you have your production line and your business running. I would say that by any traditional definition of a business, by any classic definition, you have a business. You may even have a successful, innovative, tech-enabled production line, and you're creating jobs. But I would say that that business is a fail. All right? Why is it a fail? Because of strategic gifting. A couple of reasons. Firstly, people don't want it. Or to be honest, the camels don't want it. You don't even have people, you have camels. So your addressable market doesn't want your product. Secondly, you might find that the addressable market think they don't need your product. Okay, Steve Jobs was actually pretty good at this. He convinced people over time with excellent marketing and great design that they do need the products. But if people think they do not need your product, you are in the area of risk, innovation risk, and strategic gifting. And thirdly, and most importantly, if you decide the purpose of your innovation is to make money, then the innovation has got to be something that people are willing to open their wallet for. So if people are not willing to open their wallet and spend money on your innovation, then you risk being in the area, the realm of strategic gifting. So this means that you've been very smart about creating what may be an excellent product, but the market doesn't like it, they don't need it, they don't want it, they don't understand it. So let's think about value. And let's think about value to customers. Let's think about customer value. What I have found is customer value has two sides. It's a tangible, in other words, what you can touch, what you can feel, what you can consume. But a tangible element to customer value delivered through your business products and services. and there's an intangible component to delivering what customers value. Now, on the tangible side, that's about the utility. That's about what it enables me to do. That's about what your product and or service enables me to make progress in my life. That's about the degree to which you make things easier and better for me. So if we think back to the Tesco Home Plus example, the utility there is making my, number one, my wait time into productive shopping time. And number two, I get my groceries delivered to me within 20 minutes, 30 minutes of actually making the order. Huge, huge, huge tangible utility value, giving me my time back. And of course, it's easily incorporated into my life and something that I'm willing to pay for. On the intangible side of value, right? Intangibly, it's the customer experience, how you deliver to me, and how I emotionally feel and respond to the way you deliver to me. And the other thing on the intangible side, especially when you get into products like, to a degree, Apple products, to a degree, Jaguar, to a degree, Bentley, Porsche, those kind of brand product leadership kind of brands and products. The other thing is what that says about me, right? So there's an implicit value placed on the ego of customers who buy certain products, who buy certain brands, right? And so that's another aspect of intangible value. And so a business needs to balance the two. We need to balance the utility and the tangible value. We need to balance the experience and intangible value that the customer will have in his mind about himself and about your products and services in order to deliver value in your innovation. A note or two about challenges in innovation. Firstly, there is generally a lack of understanding you need a lot of innovation in order to have good innovation. So let me give you an example here. It is often said that for every Google or for every successful Facebook or for every HP, whatever big innovative company that some of us have given feedback on in the assessment earlier, for every one of those founders have had an average of 17 failed companies. Incredible statistic to think about. I'm not able to verify the number, but I mean, just think about that. For every Google, those founders have had between them an average of 17 failed companies. So in order to get to good and useful innovation, you need a lot of innovation, some of which will be great, some which will be average, some which will be poor, but you need a lot of innovation to get to great innovation. Secondly, there's a poor understanding of why we innovate or why we must innovate. Innovation must be allowed to fail. It must be fast. It must be rewarded. So the second point linked to that, in South Africa, for example, the innovation and the business ecosystem is broken. It's weak. If you start a business and you fail, or you make an innovation and you fail, you actually get punished. So I can think of an example in South Africa. There was a EV, electric vehicle manufacturing company. It was called Optimal Energy, supported by the Department of Science and Technology. Way ahead of its time, developed a electric vehicle in South Africa about 5-10 years ago. And granted, the market didn't understand, so the company went out of business. If you are the kind of individual who borrowed money from a bank or from investors to start the innovation, you will be blacklisted, you will never get a loan again, and the investors will never invest in you again. And that goes against the idea, the principle for how a lot of innovation leads to great innovation. We have got to start to be prepared to experiment, to take risk, and to do innovation that is strategic without gifting it to customers, and understanding the role of that innovation as a stepping stone, as creating the runway, the pathway for other innovations that come and that bring value to customers. And thirdly, or fourthly, there's an immature handling or immature tendency to handle digital risk. It comes from two perspectives. Not sure if any of you follow the news, but Google and a couple of tech companies register businesses in Ireland. And Ireland allows you to pay, if not zero, but extremely little tax. So Google, Apple to an extent, they sell products in South Africa, but the headquarters is in Ireland because it maximizes tax benefits and maximizes profits, right? So governments are immature in the handling of that. We haven't yet come to an overall international understanding or agreement around how to handle that. So digital breaks down borders, but it introduces risk because businesses are unfairly not paying the accurate taxes, the right taxes that they ought to be paying. The other thing that was in the news lately is the whole thing between Facebook and the Australian government. So Facebook, the Australian government now wants Facebook to pay for posting news articles. And when you look at the trends in the journalism industry, the industry is dying, print media is down. We still want quality journalism, but no one's paying for it anymore. So I think it's a legitimate expectation that a portal such as Facebook pays for publishing news articles. But Facebook actually stopped it this week and decided to put it back. I guess they caved in. So the rules around how we interact within the digital space are not clear. We're not, as a global tech-led society, we haven't yet ironed those things out. So I think that, in addition to security, privacy, some of those issues that affect consumers, indicates that there is still a immaturity in handling digital risk. Right, so ladies and gents, I was asked to talk about three things today. I was asked to talk about how we can enhance customer relationships with immersive experiences powered by leading digital innovation. I was asked to talk about discovering value in the entirety of your business to keep customers coming back. And I was asked to talk about how we drive customer relationships and boost results by leveraging digital solutions team, which brings state-of-the-art knowledge to every engagement. I'm going to answer it in this way. In order for us to achieve those three things, what we need to have and work towards is a great qualitative understanding of our customers, because I promise you, they will give us great ideas that we can make a lot of money from. Following that, we have to be clear about the purpose of our innovation. Are we being highly strategic? We're trying something and we expect it to fail? Or is this an innovation that we expect to make money from? And how are we going to effectively do that through managing our business, our value chain, and our capabilities? And then thirdly, we need to learn, we need to improve, and we need to evolve. And as you go through that, do it in a collaborative way. Partner with people around you, partner with your customers. We are great supporters at the CX Group of bringing customers into the boardroom, of creating products and services with the customers, of using design thinking so they play with it and give you real-time feedback, improve this, improve that. So use collaboration. You don't have to do everything yourself. Partner with people around you, because 3 heads are better than 2 and 4 heads are better than 3. And accept feedback. Take feedback, what you learn, what the customers say, the market says, international trends, international successes, international failures. Take all of that stuff as feedback, feed it back into your cycle, and continuously learn and continuously innovate. Ladies and gents, that's what I prepared. Thank you very much. I hope that you've enjoyed that. I hope that you've learned something. I'm going to open it up for questions now, so please feel free to, Jerry, I don't know how you're doing this or how you prefer to do this, if you want people to, unmute themselves and ask a question, or if you'd like people to pop it into the chat. We've got about 5 minutes, so I'm happy to take a couple of questions from you. Thank you for your time. If you want to reach out to us, my email address is on the screen, eldon@thecxgroup.co.za, or if you want to visit our website, it's www.thecxgroup.co.za. We do a bunch of stuff in the customer experience area, in the customer experience discipline, ladies and gents. And we really would love for you to, to reach out and let's have a chat. Let's see, where you are in terms of your customer experience, what you're looking to drive, what is of value to you. And I've popped into the chat. If you would like us to talk to you, we can do a customer experience maturity assessment. So we look at the customer experience management principles and the best practices, and we gauge your business on where you are and whether we can help you to become better, more mature in customer experience practices. The other thing that we do, and this links very well to innovation, is we do a customer experience return on investment assessment. So we'll sit down with you, we'll ask you a couple of questions about your business, we'll ask a couple of questions about the potential new idea that you come up with, we'll ask a couple of questions around what happens with the engagement levels in your organization. And we try and come up with an estimate based on your assumptions, based on the information that you feed in. This is the rand and cents value that you gain, or the rand and cents value that your business gains from investing in customer experience, from investing in employee engagement, and from delivering innovation within your business that customers have asked you to do because you understand them very well. Ladies and gents, that's what we've prepared for you. I see a comment from you, Dion. Thank you very much. Very relevant and informative. I'm super pleased to hear that. Thank you, Dion. Are there any questions for us?
Hi, Eldon. Thanks so much. I think as it is a question and answer session, I just wanted to maybe ask if you can, because I was interested in the strategic gifting, and it touches quite a lot on it on a personal level, and one needs to understand how does one identify one's own strategic gifting. You can you can actually improve on your own delivery of customer experience, but if you can just expand on that so that we can get a sense of how one can use that to harness and improve the digital innovation in whatever they are offering.
Yeah. So I'm just going to take us back, if you don't mind. Was it you, Jerry? The question.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously we always want to lead with the customer experience. Our view and our perspective is that every organization is first and foremost a customer experience organization. All right? You deliver in customer experience first, whether that is whether that is intentional or whether that is coincidental. So let's first have that understanding, and then we talk about the products and services that you offer. So if you come back to this example, the way we view what we do has been measuredly successful, but times are changing. So in order for your business to continue as a result of increased competition, because insurance is actually quite a nice business. You get people to pay a lot of money, a bunch of money, with the expectation that what you gather in per month, or the sum of all the premiums of your customers, you don't actually spend that amount of money, right? So it's almost the money for free kind of situation. So, excuse me. So so what you want to do is make sure that you are far more relevant in the hearts, the minds, the expectation, the delivery for and towards your customers. Because if you sell insurance, everyone is selling insurance, and the more competition you have, the more it actually drives prices down. So you inevitably sit with a race to the bottom in as far as revenue and margins are concerned. But if you talk to your customers and you look at international ideas, not from your own industry, but from very, very, very different industries, and see how you can apply that to your business. So what's happening, for example, in the airline industry that you can incorporate into your business? What's happening in the marine world? What's happening in the army? If you can take ideas from other industries, test them with your customers, validate that they work, and you can incorporate that into your value proposition to deliver far more on the outside in needs of customers, then you become more relevant. And when you're more relevant, you become more differentiated. And when you are more differentiated, you've got a higher ability to create loyalty and stickiness within your customers, right? So I hope that answers your question, but it's moving from how I view what I do to what my customers want from me and how my customers deliver, how my business delivers on the customer need. I hope that answers the question. But yeah, we've got to be relevant. We've got to make sure we deliver the kind of products, services, and innovation that people like, that they want, that they need, that are relevant to them, that helps them make progress, and that they are willing to spend money on. That's key.
Thank you very much. I don't know if there's anyone else who wants to ask a question, but a whole lot of information that you've presented that is quite interesting. And I was actually going to run just a few questions, but I think I'll open it to the floor.
Anybody else? We are at 10 o'clock, so I don't want to take up the next speaker's time, but if you would like to engage, perhaps some of you don't want to, or a bit shy. I know I'm quite shy to speak in public sometimes, but pop us an email, let's talk, let's engage. There's the email address, look us up on LinkedIn. As I said in the intro, very, very interested in engaging with people and connecting you to other people and other things that make progress for you in your life. And with that said, thank you very much for your time, ladies and gents. We look forward to speaking to you in some way, shape, or form soon.
Thank you very much, Eldon, for the presentation and for the wonderful insights.